All right. Well, once again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stephanie Adams, and I am one of the instructional designers in the Department of Cyberlearning here at Youngstown State. I see a lot of familiar names in our attendance list today. I see a few new names. So if you're not familiar with our department, we are the main support for Blackboard on campus. But in addition to that, again, we have a full staff of instructional designers. So we are here to help you with any of your course design and development needs. I want to thank everyone for joining our webinar this afternoon on Blackboard Ultra, 10 life hacks you need to know. So we're going to be diving into some of the best tips and tricks that I can think of to enhance your course design and development. So we're going to kind of be all over the place. We're going to cover a variety of topics. There's not going to be a super great flow to this. It's not going to be your typical point and click training that you probably are used to attending with us. So we're just going to kind of bypass some of those basic how-tos of the platform and just kind of jump from feature to feature with how to use some of these things. As always, just some housekeeping items before we get started. I do have some natural pauses built into our presentation today for you to ask questions, but feel free to jump in at any time and ask any questions. I do have our WebEx chat window open on one of my screens. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm monitoring that chat window. If you have any questions and you just want to stay muted, go ahead and send those over to the chat window. But like I said, I'm going to pause periodically for questions. So at that point, feel free to come off mic and ask your questions verbally. As I mentioned, I am recording today's webinar, so you will receive a link to this recording. So you can rewatch it, you can share it with your peers, you can get some popcorn later and watch it on your big screen TV at home. Whatever you choose to do with this recording is entirely up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our 10 life hacks you need to know about Blackboard Ultra. So here's a quick overview of the topics that we're going to cover today. Some of these I utilize on a daily basis when I'm working in courses and I'm helping all of you. Some of them I don't really use until I think of it or until the situation calls for it. So as I'm going through this list, you might come to that same realization that some of these you might not use but once a semester. Some of these you might start to use every time you're in your course. So the first hack I'm going to go ahead and share with you are our Cyberlearning course templates and module templates. So our office has created course and module templates to help you build a basic structure for your course. Now, all you have to do is simply request these templates and we can copy them directly into your course. Not only is this going to help you get a head start on your course development, but it's also going to create consistency across your courses, but also across your programs, which is really going to enhance your student learning experience. You know, over the past couple of years, we've been utilizing Blackboard Ultra and Blackboard Original. And from a student perspective, they've had to use both of these platforms. Well, now we're all using Blackboard Ultra, which is great. And this is a great opportunity to really enhance that student learning experience for our students and to build some course templates, or again, like I said, program templates for you to implement into your courses. Again, it creates that consistency to help enhance the student experience. Now we can also create custom templates for you. So I want you to keep that in mind as I'm going through and showing you some of these items. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the course templates that we have. Keep in mind, we can create custom templates for you. So if you're on this call and you're thinking, you know what, all of our intro courses or all of these particular courses within our program would really benefit from having a similar look and feel, that is something that we can help provide to you. So let me jump into Blackboard real quick and show you what some of our courses templates look like and some things we've done for some other departments and what we can provide to you. So I'm just in a Blackboard Ultra course here, and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to some of our templates. So you're probably used to seeing this getting started section in the syllabus and schedule section, and potentially even this Blackboard orientation section in your courses. So those are template modules that we can push out to all of your courses. Now, of course, you can delete them. You don't have to use them, but keep in mind the majority of courses have these. So if you start to utilize them, your students are getting that same experience from one course to the next. They don't have to guess where the syllabus is located. Is it going to be in the getting started section? Is it going to be in the syllabus and schedule section? Is it going to be in your week 1 module? If we all kind of start to utilize these same templates, our students now have a better learning experience. We can also create entire module templates for you. So you can see a particular module here would contain, for example, a week's worth of content. And we can also simply create document templates for you as well. So if you want all of your video content to have a similar look and feel with 3 columns, 2 columns, or text on the left and videos on the right, these are templates that we can help build for you. So I want you kind of think about when you're building a PowerPoint and you insert a new slide, you have the opportunity to pick basically your layout or your template on that PowerPoint slide. This is kind of similar. We can help build these for you. And then these are something that you can continuously use throughout your courses. So keep in mind these course templates, not only just for your courses, but potentially for your programs as well. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Any questions with our Cyberlearning course module templates? Or any ideas that you thought of as I was showing some of those? Barbara, yes.
I just wanted to endorse the custom templates because we've done that for our composition, our gen ed courses that we use a lot of part-time instructors for, and it's enabled us to, we worked closely with you, to develop it, and it's worked really well to ensure some consistency across the platform of our, writing 1 and writing 2 classes. So I just wanted to, thank you for doing that and let people know it works really well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Barbara.
I'm sorry, I got here a little bit late. So where exactly are we? Because I don't see anything.
So I am sharing my screen. You should see a PowerPoint slide titled Overview.
Well, I'm pretty computer stupid, so how do I get to WebEx?
So you've called into the meeting. If you want to make your way to ysu.webex.com, or if you actually want to call in to our IDDC number, I can go ahead and send that to, actually, you're probably not in the chat. If you want to go ahead and call extension 1535, we can go ahead and get you in the meeting.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, folks, let's go ahead and jump into our next hack, which is going to be the edit and manage content. So this is something that I'm starting to use more often myself. This is going to be editing and managing your content in your course. So I'm going to show you a few of these features to help you locate content in your course, but also kind of clean up your course. I'm sure a lot of you have been kind of using the same course over and over and over from one semester to the next. So these are some things that are going to help you clean up that course to make sure the content that's in the course is exactly what you need. So we're actually going to talk about locating and deleting unused files and also searching for files. So back to Blackboard, we'll go ahead and show you these features. So in your Blackboard course, towards the top right corner, you're going to see a search bar. So this is going to be a great way for you to find specific items in your course. So I'm seeing a lot of familiar names on this list here of people that are in our meeting. If you're comfortable with Blackboard Original, you remember that there was that feature where you could expand everything in your menu and you could easily find something in your course. This search is going to be kind of a similar way to find items in your course. And I actually just used this last week with an instructor. I was having trouble locating their quiz 2. I was going through every single module trying to find it. But in the end, I remembered I can simply use this search bar and search for what I'm looking for. The other feature I want to mention is going to be in this upper right corner in our 3 dots or options menu. And we're going to go to the last option, which is unused files. So in our unused files, there's going to be 2 views. There's going to be our all files or just our unused files. Now the unused files are going to display files that have never been opened in your course. So again, this is one of those really nice features that some of these things have potentially have been in your course for years and years, semester after semester. And this is a great opportunity for you just to clean up some of that content. But if you're not sure what to clean up, the unused files feature is a great way to help you. And you can simply remove these items from your course. Folks, any questions with our editing and managing content features? Right. Back to our overview here. We're going to go ahead and jump into our next hack, which is going to be release conditions. Now, this feature is probably familiar to you. Some of you may know it by conditional availability. In Ultra, it's called release conditions, but this really isn't a hack. This is not a new feature, but how I'm going to show you how to use it is a little bit of a hack. So release conditions is a feature that's going to allow you to set when and how content will be available to your students. So you can basically set up a specific module, folder, or piece of content to be released on a certain date or time. Now, the way that I like to show using this particular feature is to set up all of your content in your course at the beginning of the semester using your release conditions corresponding with the academic calendar. So this is going to save you time in the long run as it avoids having some of your content remain accidentally hidden. So for each one of these modules, I can go ahead and adjust the visibility, choose release conditions, and I can go ahead and have this particular module open on a certain date and time. I can also have it hide on a certain date and time as well. But this is something I recommend doing at the very beginning of the semester, so you can kind of set up all of that at the beginning. I also recommend, along with these release conditions, I usually don't recommend using the hidden from students feature. More often than not, I see faculty setting things as hidden, saying, well, I'll make it visible when I'm ready. Well, you have a lot going on. So to come in here and make this visible, I see people forgetting all the time. So typically, if you know the specific date that you want it to be visible to your students, just go ahead and set that, because keeping it hidden, you're going to forget to make it visible. Barbara, go ahead.
I'm sorry, one question about that is hidden from students is still the default though, right? When you create something?
That's a great question. Yeah. So anytime you create anything in Ultra, the default visibility is always going to be hidden.
So you have to remember to go back in and change that. Yeah.
Exactly. So anytime I create anything, whether it's a document, a test, a quiz, the very first thing I do is I name it and I adjust my visibility right away. Um, it's not a requirement to change that, but again, it's something that I just like to do right after I name it, because if not, I'm going to forget. Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions with release conditions? I'm going to talk a little bit more about dates and times here, along with our next feature. Actually, our next few features. But the next one we're going to talk about is the batch edit feature. So the batch edit feature, something that I use on a daily basis, honestly. Until recently, there was really no way to batch edit or batch delete items in Ultra. So for example, if you wanted to delete all of your PowerPoints or a number of items, you actually had to delete them one by one. I think this feature came out maybe a year or so ago. It didn't really make a big splash, so you may not even know it's there. So let me go ahead and show you how this feature works. So in our course, we're going to go to the upper right corner again. We're going to go to that options menu and we're going to choose batch edit. This is going to show me all of my course content. You can see I can select multiple items at once. I can deselect however many I need to. But once I have multiple items selected, I have these options in the lower right corner. I can delete multiple items at once. I can edit the visibility of multiple items at once. So if you have your entire course is hidden from students, you can actually come into this batch edit section and edit the visibility here. We'll go ahead and make everything visible. And you can also select multiple items and edit the dates for those items. So once this updates, we'll go ahead and show that. So we'll go ahead and just select a few items here. I'm going to go ahead and select edit dates in the lower right corner. We're going to get this screen here. Now, if you're copying content over from a previous semester, you can actually see that you can change your dates based on a course start date. So if you have all of those release conditions set, but they are from fall 2023, you can go ahead and adjust those based off of fall 2024, and it will automatically edit those dates for you. So this is a really great feature, especially if you have content on a weekly basis, opening over time throughout your semester, but your dates are just using last semester or last year's dates. This is a great way to easily and quickly change those dates based off of a start date.
Quick question.
Mhm.
How do you tell if the course start?
So you can see here, you just set it here in this section that says
So
current
it's right
start
on
date.
that page.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then new start date. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So that is our batch edit feature. Any questions with batch editing our content?
So just to make sure I understand that feature, because that sounds like it's going to be really helpful because I
Mhm.
usually go in like week by week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would go in there, I would hit like that button to select everything,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yep. We're going to select all the items.
Okay. And then so for instance, if I'm teaching the same course in the spring, I put in the spring start date and it's going to like figure out how the dates would.
Yeah, so you would put in the
Update.
current start date, and then the new start date would
Wow.
be, so like if you're teaching it in the upcoming spring, you would put in like January whatever the
Mhm.
new start date is for that
Yeah.
semester. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's cool and it's really time saving because
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
how many, you spend at least an hour or more,
Yeah.
corroborating all of that, right? And there's
Right.
always a mistake in there somewhere,
Yep.
So if you're saying that if I had an assignment due 3 weeks after the semester started this fall,
Mhm.
and I did the update,
Mhm.
that assignment would be due 3 weeks after the semester started in the spring.
Correct.
Woohoo!
Yep. Yep.
Stephanie, can you show it one more time how you got there?
Yeah, let's go ahead back to our course here. And we're going to go to the kind of upper right corner of the course, those 3 dots,
Oh, okay.
batch edit.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. And then you'll just select the content, and then you're going to have those options in the lower right corner.
Hmm.
All right. Go ahead and get our presentation back up. Too many screens. There we go. All right. So my next hack, again, this isn't kind of a new or novel feature, but I wanted to explain why I like promoting using the due date feature in your course. So oftentimes we see faculty typing out a specific due date in a content area, in an assignment text block, but then each semester you have to go through all of the text in your course to make sure you change that date. And if it's in your text, it can easily be overlooked. So my hack is to avoid using actual text dates in your text and actually use the due date function. So again, one less thing you need to worry about editing when you're copying from one semester to the next. So let's look at a quick example here. So let's say this course has been copied from last fall to this fall. We're going to go into our module and I'm going to come into my discussion board. I'm going to go ahead and change the due date for this particular fall. We'll just go ahead and pick a random date here. Halloween. But again, if you're somebody that puts your due dates in the text itself, this text can easily be overlooked. So initially this was due on October 13th last semester. I changed the due date, but this text can easily be overlooked. So anytime you have actual text due dates, I do recommend just kind of eliminating those altogether. So again, in maybe a module overview where you have a list of all of your assignments that are due, again, I do recommend maybe just putting this is due Sunday of this week, or this is due Saturday of this week, as opposed to a specific date, because you're going to have to go through each one of those modules and look for those dates and change them, as opposed to the actual due date function. You can see a list of your due dates in your gradebook. So I can easily see if everything's been updated to the current semester. But it's going to be a lot more time consuming if I have to go through every single module overview, every single assignment, every single discussion board, and look for the actual text that I typed out. So that's my hack for this particular feature. Use the due date function and eliminate the actual text itself within your course. Any questions with that particular feature? All right. So my next hack is to copy your rubrics from one course to the next. So I know rubrics take a lot of time to develop, and I don't want all of that time going to waste within your courses. So when our department completes a course copy for you, we do copy over the entire course for you. So we copy over content, assignments, and rubrics. But you actually have the ability yourself to just copy a rubric if you want to. So let's say, for example, you have a rubric in another course, or you have a great rubric that you developed from a previous semester, and you want to use it in this particular course. You can do that and just copy just the rubric. Again, we don't need to spend time recreating rubrics, retyping out all of those rubrics, all of that information. Let's just copy them over. This is kind of a relatively new feature as well, being able just to copy rubrics from one course to another. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So we're in our course here, and you could have probably guessed by now, we're going to head back to those three dots, and we're going to choose copy items. This is going to open up a list of all of the courses that you are enrolled in as an instructor. You're going to go ahead and locate the course that has the rubric you want to copy. You're going to be able to dive into the content of your course. So if you just wanted to copy a specific piece of item from your course, you can. But you're also going to notice there's going to be a specific rubric folder. So if I know that, this course did have a really good final project rubric, I want that over, and you can just simply copy just the rubrics. In the lower right corner, you'll select Start Copy. It's going to copy those rubrics into the course for you. And then you can go ahead and assign them to your specific assessment items that need them. Again, this is just another one of those administrative tasks that's going to save you a lot of time. Don't recreate those rubrics. You can easily just pull them from your other courses. You can also share rubrics with another colleague. It's the same copying process. You would just have to be an instructor in the course that you're copying from and copying to. So if I have a specific course and I have some rubrics and Barbara wants one of my rubrics, I would just have to be enrolled in her course to be able to copy it over, or the other way around. But that's something that we can help with if that particular situation arises. Any other questions with rubrics or copying content while we're here?
Stephanie, this is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, would you show now where we would find those rubrics that you just copied into a course?
Excellent question. Great. So I'm actually going to head to my gradebook. I'm going to go to my settings in the upper right corner. And I'm going to scroll down to the rubric section. I think it's the very bottom. Here we go. And you can see there is that final project I just copied over. And I think I did this one as well. So there's going to be our rubrics. I can go ahead and view them, edit them, delete them. There's that particular rubric. So this is where you're going to find all of your rubrics. And then when you're actually building your assessments, that's where you would go ahead and assign the rubric to your assessment. But this is where your entire list of rubrics will be in the settings of your gradebook. All right, moving on to our next hack is going to be a course tour video. Actually, we're going to go ahead and follow discussions. Let's go ahead and talk about following discussions. So this is a relatively new feature as well. I think this was just released last month. But you can actually, as an instructor or a student, can follow discussion board responses and replies. So this is a great feature, like I said, both for you and your students. It's going to allow you to select specific discussion boards that you want to follow or subscribe to. And then you can actually set your notifications for how you can receive notifications regarding those new contributions. So something that we always hear from faculty and even students, especially if they have to respond to discussion boards throughout a particular week, is they have to come and keep checking and checking and checking to see if there's responses there, if there's enough responses. You can actually now subscribe or follow discussion boards and then receive notifications. So let me go ahead and just jump into a discussion board real quick. That one I'm already following. Let me go into one of these discussion boards here. You're going to notice in the upper right corner of our discussion boards, we're going to have a follow button. So once I select follow, I'm going to get a notification letting me know that I've now followed this particular discussion board, and I can adjust my notifications and my preferences. So of course, that's something that you will want to do if you're following a discussion board. And you can go ahead and get notifications within the Blackboard activity stream or directly to your email regarding those discussion boards. So we can go ahead and see our discussion activity. So if I made a particular post as a student, maybe I want to be notified if there's activity on my post or activity on my replies, or whatever the case is. You can see all of these options down the list here. So it's going to make it, again, one of those administrative tasks a lot easier for you. Instead of coming into the platform, throughout the day or throughout the week to see if there are posts and responses, you can simply follow a discussion board and then adjust your notifications. Any questions with following a discussion board?
I had a question.
Yeah.
If we selected that preference that they follow just the responses from the instructor, would it only be responses to their posts, or would it be any post I make in the discussion?
I would have to pull up the user settings for this. Like I said, this was just released last week or last month.
Okay. Yeah, I was
So
just
yeah,
curious.
let me make a note
But
and I can go ahead and pull
you
up
can
that
just
for
let
you.
me know. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right, just a few more hacks for us. The next hack I'm going to go ahead and show is the new student notes section for your students within your course. So there's a new notes tab within your student section of the course that's basically just for you as an instructor and any other instructors that are tied to your course. So it's a private space that, like I said, instructors can access, but it's a great way for you to kind of add any notes on that particular student into the system. You can track the evolution of the student over time. You can potentially record due date arrangements, extension arrangements between you and the student. You may already have a place where you kind of record student notes, and that's totally fine. But this is a newer feature in the system that I did want to go ahead and show. So this is going to be in your gradebook. And there is going to be in the gradebook a students tab. Now, this is going to be your entire roster of students. I'm going to go ahead and select one of my students. And you're gonna see now there is a notes tab. So again, this is a section just for you as the instructor. No one else is gonna see this unless they have the role of an instructor, or of course our Blackboard administrators will have access to this. But this can be simply like I said, agreements between you and the student, due date extensions, other due date agreements, things of that nature, or just a place for you to kind of track the evolution of your student over time. So this is going to be, like I said, just an internal note. Now, if you already have a place where you do record those student notes, that's totally fine. I know with sometimes with advising, we do it in that third-party platform. But this is a great way to have that right in the course for yourself. Any questions about the student notes tab?
So where will I find those?
So you just have to go into each student to see if there's notes there. Does that make sense?
Slow that down. Is there a place that shows that there's a note
There's
on that
not.
screen, or I'd have to go back and hit notes?
You'd have to go back.
Okay.
But let me go ahead and write that down. Because that's a great piece of feedback.
This is a really interesting, potentially interesting feature, but I think I think as she was saying, there are a couple other things that would make it
Yep.
really, really helpful, because
Okay.
I have like 130 students, so I'm not entirely sure. I'd forget, or how functional it is, with, ease for me to see where they are.
Sure. So I know when you add a student accommodation, that student does get a purple ribbon. So I'm wondering if something of that nature, because you can see Jessica now has a purple ribbon on this screen as well. So I'm gonna just write that down. So I'm wondering if maybe there's some sort of note feature or icon that they can include.
I'm sorry, I don't know about the adding that. That's new to me, but I'm new to Ultra. I can add an accommodation.
Yeah, so if your student has a documented accommodation, you can
Okay.
actually go ahead and insert that into the system.
Okay.
So if they get unlimited time on their assessments,
Uh-huh.
or
It would be really nice if that was done automatically without us having to insert them. I mean, just because, we're being contacted, like, it'd be nice if it followed the student into the roster.
right, yeah, no, that has to be done on the course level.
Mhm.
And like I said, you can see here, you can have a due date accommodation. So you would basically get rid of a due date altogether for a student. So they would never be marked late if you have due dates on your assessments. And then you can also give them time limit accommodation. So if a student gets, 50% extra time, time and a half, double time, whatever the case is, or you can just remove that and give them unlimited time. So if you have a quiz that's, 20 minutes, they would simply have unlimited time to take that quiz. But anytime you do assign an accommodation to a student, there will be a purple ribbon that appears next to their name. So I'll go ahead and make a note, and I'll check the idea exchange for Blackboard and see if there's any other people that are started using the notes feature, and maybe there's some other things I can go ahead and add to that.
Even if, this is Barbara, Stephanie, even if, how when the students participate in a journal or discussion board, there's a number in parentheses next to their name that shows you they've participated, right? Even if there were somewhere where, when you have your list of students, there could be a number or whatever indicating that there was a note. An icon would be great too, but I noticed that when you went to notes, the number showed. So if that could, if you
Yeah,
could,
that's a great idea. How many notes on that
Yeah.
student? Because sometimes I'm trying to keep track of each student, and I need to make sure that everybody got the same amount of notes, because that means I missed somebody.
Perfect. I'm writing a small town, so I can go ahead and submit that to the Blackboard ID Exchange. All right. All right, well, I have one more hack for us. And that's my plug for our department. You know, I couldn't leave without plugging the instructional design and development team in the Department of Cyberlearning. Again, I do see a lot of familiar faces on here, so I'm assuming you have an understanding of what we do as a department. But I do see some new names on here as well. So just to give you a background, we are the main support for Blackboard on campus, but as instructional designers, we specialize in course design and development. So that means we can really assist with everything from, you know, creating your learning objectives, you know, aligning your courses to those objectives. We really can help in all aspects. We've, you know, done specific one-off projects here and there with certain departments. So definitely utilize us and utilize our expertise. In addition to our full staff here, I'm sure you see some faces on this screen that you recognize. We do have a full team of student employees working in our office as well. So depending on the semester, we usually have between 6 and 8 students who work at least 20 hours a week, each of them. They are fully trained on Blackboard. So they're kind of our tier 1 basic support for Blackboard questions. So if you're just not sure how to do something or you forget how to do something, our student employees are going to be your go-to. I also want to plug that one of the services that our students provide within our office is if we can actually import your tests and quizzes into Blackboard for you. So if you do have a 20-question quiz and you don't want to sit there and type those questions into Blackboard, and honestly, you shouldn't, you have other things that you have to focus on in terms of student learning and engagement, we can actually format those questions and import those into Blackboard for you. So that is a service that we have our students provide.
I have a quick question about the students support staff. I found them to be really, really helpful.
Good.
I know there was one instance, this was going back a few semesters, where a student who answered the phone, and I came to sort of realize that that was a student that was in my class. Now, I'm just, and then it was there was an issue. So my question is, the students will they say, oh, you know, I'm one of your students, or I'm in your class, I can't work with you, I'm gonna pass you on to somebody else? Like, will they be proactive? Is that how they're part of their training?
Yes, so anytime during basically their orientation, once we hire our students into our office, upon kind of their hire date, they sign an internal kind of contract with our department, basically saying that they cannot work in any course that they are currently taking or is going to be a course that they will take as part of their program. So for example, right now we have an education student. So anytime an education course comes through where someone needs to work on it, if she sees it come through, she either delegates it to somebody else or has somebody else take it. There's often times where it potentially could be a gen ed course, and that's when, you know, myself or Joe or Jessica or Rachel will kind of take that issue on. So that is something that they do proactively. And again, they are signing basically part of their employment saying that they will not go into or work in courses that they are either taking or part of their program.
And also, does the system record anybody who goes into a course? Like, is that, so
Yep.
there's no way somebody could
Yeah.
jump in?
And I'll just speak on that too. I regularly pull reports to ensure that students are not going into courses in their program.
Thanks. I teach gen ed stuff, so you know, anybody could be taking my classes. It's not really, I mean, it's part of the program for studio art, but you know, I have students from all over campus, so I guess gen ed's a little trickier. And most of my questions are, you know, how do I do this? But you know, I often will say, hey, you want to come into the class and, you know, kind of help me walk, you know, I'll try it and walk me through it. So I mean, I'm using the students all the time because I am challenged in figuring some of this stuff out too.
Folks, those are my hacks for you. We do have some extra time. Do we have any questions regarding any of the hacks that we covered or any of the features that we covered that you potentially want to see again or explore a little bit more this afternoon?
This is Mike. You briefly had a note about preparing a video for a tour. Do you have any specific suggestions? Because I do that all the time and I still get students coming up to me and where's the quiz? Well, I did create a video that showed you where the quizzes were.
Mike, you caught me. You caught me. You caught me red-handed.
That you skipped over it?
I did, yes. So there is a feature in Blackboard that they are eventually going to put in the platform for us.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
However, they're only making this feature available for free for a certain period of time. We don't know what the cost is of that feature after they stop making it free. So I don't want to tease you and show you all this really great feature if we can't afford it down the road.
Okay. Well, I was just curious if you had pointers like flashing neon lights that draw students' attention to what I'm saying, but because I've done that for multiple semesters now, and I still will get students, I can't find this. Well, did you look at the video? Well, no. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, no problem. Folks, any other questions I can answer for you?
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody,
Really
you will
helpful.
receive a link to this recording. Of course, that will come from my email, so you will have my email. You can keep that at the top of your inbox, respond with any questions that you have. Keep in mind, we do have plenty of other webinars this week for our Ultra Week that we're hosting. So we have one tomorrow on visual aesthetics of your course. We have one on Wednesday for all of the great AI features built in Blackboard. And then on Thursday, registration is still open. Our reps from Blackboard will be traveling to campus on Thursday. At 12 o'clock, they will be providing a roadmap session to show you all of the great new things coming in Ultra. So definitely go ahead and register for that. Free lunch will be provided. So with the link to this recording, I'll go ahead and send out that registration, and just in case you didn't have an opportunity to take a look at everything else that's going on this week.
Hey, Stephanie, I didn't register for the ones that I knew I wouldn't be able to attend because I had class. So
Sure.
they're Tuesday and Thursday. Obviously, the Thursday live one, well, I don't know, maybe there'll be a video of that, but or a recording. But I need to register for them if I want to get the recording. So I should register even if I can't.
Yeah, go ahead and register. We do sometimes keep a running list of people that can attend, and we send the recording out. But if it's just easier to register because then your name will be on the list and you'll get the recording. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.